so the film we had was Blue of the trilogy Three Colors by Krzysztof Kieslowski. And so the film is essentially about, it follows the story of a woman named Julie. She's in a car accident with her husband and small child. When she wakes up in the hospital, she discovers that both her husband and child are dead. And she tries to commit suicide by ingesting a lot of pills, but she finds that she cannot do that. She doesn't have it in her to kill herself. So when she returns home, she decides to sell all her belongings, and her house goes up to market, and she, after spending the night with her husband's colleague, she decides to move to a small apartment to get away from everything in her past. She tries to isolate herself from human interaction, but she cannot help but get involved with the people around her. She hears a musician with this beautiful flute, and that reminds her of her husband, because he was a famous composer. And his beautiful music haunts her throughout the play, especially the last piece her husband was working on. She is entreated to finish it, but she tells the woman no, because she's trying to isolate herself. Eventually, she becomes more involved with the people around her. She decides to help her husband's colleague named Olivia to finish his piece, and she accepts that she can love life again. As for the narrative spine, the car crash really is what causes her to want this isolation, and she, by giving away everything that was a part of her, she tries to create herself anew, but people in the past keep coming back to her to pull her back into the real world. There's a boy who witnessed the crash, comes back to give her husband's last words. The woman who tries to get her to finish her husband's commission, the musical piece. Olivia, her husband's colleague, she has a kind of romantic relationship with him, but she cuts him off. And so she does all these things to try to isolate herself from human interaction and from her past, but she can't fully commit to it. There's a blue chandelier that is hanging in her house. It's the only thing she did not sell, and she takes that with her to her new apartment. And first thing she does when she gets there is hang it up. We assume it's her young child Anna's, but it's gaudy and something a small child would have to do. There's a scene where a man is getting beat up outside, and Julie hears him. She sees him getting beat up, but she doesn't do anything because she's still trying to isolate herself. She sees the man come into her building and asks for, banging on the doors for help, but she doesn't help him. At the end, though, after a few seconds of silence, she goes out to try to help him, but he's gone already. And through that, she ends up locking herself out, and she sees a woman who apparently is having an affair with her neighbor, and she reluctantly befriends her, and through that human interaction, just kind of keeps opening herself up to new relationships and back into the old life she had. She eventually, she sees a TV program of Olivia. He's been commissioned to complete her husband's work, which she denied. And so through that, she decides to go help him. Well, she rejects it at first because she says that it's wrong, it's his work, and you shouldn't touch that. But the piece is called The Unification of Europe, and through that, it was supposed to help with piecing back together the countries through unification. And so she decides to eventually help him, and through helping him, she finds out more about her past life that she didn't realize existed. Her husband had a mistress, so she goes to meet her, and ends up giving her old home because she finds out that the mistress has her husband's child. And so, by interacting with the people around her, she comes back to life and she's kind of reborn through her actions. And that's how the movie ends, is with her, it's a montage of her and all the lives that she has affected through her actions as the car accident. And that's the end.
So in terms of montage structure, there's one short clip that really sums up Kozlowski's style here.
Skąd pan to zna? Wymyśliłem. Lubię grać.
So the overwhelming use I found here was a tonal montage. In this scene, it was the focus on the sugar cube, which just showed Julie's apathetic feeling towards it all. She had just met with Olivier previously, and it just shows that like this ordinary object is what she's fixated on, and she's just ignoring the world at large here. The music in the background is something that like keeps her, that brings her back to reality in the end. It seems out of place, and it's something that she has in common with Olivier, and it shows her change of pace because she goes to confront the musician afterwards. Rhythmic montage was another element used in this scene here because the timing and pacing was very important for showing these images to the viewer. In this instance, the timing of the sugar cube being saturated took like exactly 5 seconds. There was a behind-the-scenes documentary where Kozlowski and like his staff, they spent like a day testing sugar cubes to make sure it was exactly 5 seconds. And this is because it couldn't be too short or else it would just breeze by viewers, and it couldn't be too long or else it would be distracting. It just, focusing on that element just showed that she wanted to reject Olivier and just put it out of her mind, but the music playing in the background was a reminder that she had to face reality for her actions. Overall, this particular use of montage, it forces the viewer to make their own conclusions because like something's out of place in the scene and you're forced to decide what it is based on the juxtaposition. So the goal with composition was seeing it through the eyes of the protagonist here. The most direct way to do that was through first person, but there's also the element of tight framing, which gives a sense of unease, and that reflects Julie's state of mind. Close-ups, once again, we're left to interpret the meaning of those through her introspective mind, something that she's just deeply fixated on. And in a sense, as the viewer, we're supposed to feel the same sense of loss, and it kind of like puts the viewer in a type of trance.
Blue is a part of a trilogy of 3 films, Blue, White, and Red. Each of these films has a meaning behind it. Blue meaning liberty, white meaning equality, and red meaning fraternity. Blue, the color, has been used immensely throughout this film to evoke the feeling of trying to break free, to trying to get over her past, to get over what happened. So the way that Christoph does this is using blue filters and objects that give off blue light or are just blue in general. Not only is blue almost enveloped in every single shot, he also makes reference to the other two colors because he does not want to leave them out. There's a scene where she's talking to the what is referred to the prostitute that lives below her downstairs, and she's in the pool, and it's lit blue. It's nice, calming, and then these children appear running into the pool in all white, bright bathing suits with red floaties, almost bringing a disturbance to her, almost breaking her motivation and her concentration in order to push forward. Some of the camera shots in the film create Julie's face as a canvas, and these were referred to as dramatic shots because they weren't referred to as close-ups, medium shots, or extreme close-ups. They were any shot that really painted a canvas on her face. In the example given before by Kelly with the chandelier, you saw that the sapphire color, the light shining through, really painted just these blue streaks on her face, which really gave the color meaning of liberty and her entrapment of her past brought forward. Another shot that was used is also in the end and also in the pool, where this blue light, almost a inhuman or supernatural blue light, just envelops the screen, and the director wants you to realize that it's unnatural, but he really wants to push forward the feeling of this shot. The shots in the film, just to go over everything, he made sure in almost every single shot that Julie was in it, that she was the center of everything, that it was her story and it was her trying to break free from her past. And that's it.